This broadcast is partnered by Venice AI. Have you ever thought about what an AI is doing with your chat history? Did you know that Alexa listens in to recommend products and Meta retargets us based on what we click? Most AI platforms like ChatGPT store everything you say and attach it to your identity. They even tend to share it with third parties or other unknown entities. One may ask themselves, why am I handing over my data so easily? That's when today's partners come in. Venice AI. Venice AI prioritizes privacy. It is a private, permissionless AI platform that keeps your data safe. As a creator, I personally use it to brainstorm video ideas, create thumbnails, and also use it to clean up any posts I put on social media. I'm not the best writer, so it's always good to have something to make sure what I write is understood and readable. So if you're ready to level up your experience and keep your privacy intact, you can sign up using my link, venice.ai/Alyx, to get 20% off its pro plan. So don't miss out. Level up your AI experience with Venice AI today. For the 7th time, AEW was live on pay-per-view for the inaugural Double or Nothing. This time live, Glendale, Arizona. The first time that a Double or Nothing show was held outside of Las Vegas. And I gotta be honest with you, the show, for the most part, went exactly how I thought it would go. AEW delivered inside the ring. Great show when it comes to the in-ring action. The matches that I was looking forward to, all three delivered. And then on top of that, I was blessed to see Okada versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Sleeper hit. Did not expect that match to be as good as it ended up being. Okada could turn it on. When he needs to turn it on, he does. Every single time. But yeah, without question, those 4 matches carried the entire show. The other matches were essentially what I thought they would be. Just there. Honestly, you could have shaved off a good 3. I'm just being honest with you. By the time this show was over, it was literally 11:30. 11:30. The show started at 7. Well, that's not true. The show actually started at 6 for the pre-show, 0 hour. But the main show started at 7. It went 4 hours and 30 minutes. Why are these shows getting longer? One of my biggest complaints, the biggest complaints that I have with AEW is that these shows are way too long. They're too long. And just when I was thinking that things were going to improve, that the shows were going to be booked more, let's just say the pacing was going to improve. It feels like the pacing is getting worse. Does anyone else feel that way? Where matches are now just being added for the sake of being added. That Paragon versus Don Callis family match did not need to be on the card. It did not need to be on the card. I don't even know why it was on the card. It made no sense to be there. But on top of that, you also had, what was it, FTR versus Nigel McGuinness and Daniel Garcia. That was literally a collision match or a dynamite match. That did not need to be on pay-per-view. And that went way too long, by the way. It was essentially a squash match. An elongated squash match for FTR. I mean, fine. You want to get them over as heels, great, but did that need to be on the pay-per-view? No. It did not. No offense to the Tag Team Championship match. I, of course, am a big fan of all 4 men: Hurt Syndicate, Sammy Guevara, Dustin Rhodes. That wasn't a pay-per-view match. It really wasn't. We have to understand, we're paying $50 for this. And so the quality needs to match the money we're putting forth. And I have to keep reminding the people in AEW, this was fine when you had 4 pay-per-views a year. You have 10 now. You have 10 pay-per-views. Just jam-packing all these wrestlers in there, you don't need to do that anymore. Not everybody needs to be on the show. Period. I would understand All In. But regular pay-per-views like All Out or Wrestle Dream, even Double or Nothing, you don't have to add everybody. And you felt it. You felt the 4 hours, the 4.5 hours of this show. By the time it was over, even watching the main event, which was excellent, by the way, I was like, okay, can we please end this? This is going on way too long. It really is. And I don't know how much I need to keep complaining about it, how often I need to keep complaining about it, but someone has to tell Tony Khan these shows are too long. Like, by the time NXT was over, because they aired NXT Battleground basically side by side, Double or Nothing. By the time Trick Williams beat Joe Hendry for the TNA World title, you heard me right, Trick Williams beat Joe Hendry for the TNA World Championship on an NXT show. By the time that was over, I think they were having... Weren't they just getting to the women's championship match? They were just getting to Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa. Yeah. They didn't even touch Anarchy in the arena yet. The show is too long. These shows are too long. And someone needs to say it. I'm going to keep saying it. You don't need to have how many matches were on this card? Because I thought it was 8, and then they added like 2 more, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 matches. You could have shaved 2 off. Made it a healthy 7, maybe even 6 card match. 7. You didn't need to have 9 matches on here. And that's not including the pre-show. But let me go ahead and get into another issue. Despite the great quality of wrestling we got, I thought Anarchy in the arena was worth the $50. That alone was worth the $50. And the main event was excellent. Mercedes Moné beat Jamie Hayter. Now, I love Mercedes. I think Mercedes Moné is one of the best female wrestlers we have. I don't like that they had her beat Jamie Hayter here. So now, both your TBS champions and your women's champs will be in a match. What else is there for the other women to do? You had an opportunity to have Mercedes take a clean loss, not be hurt by it, build up Jamie Hayter to fight Toni Storm. They already have a feud. And then have Mercedes go after Athena again. Now you have 2 women's title matches that I was looking forward to at All In. But instead, you have Mercedes win the Owen Hart Cup. And now she's going after Toni Storm. How do you not have Mercedes beat Toni? Like, she's already a monster as it is. She's undefeated. She's won all the titles. At this point, you might as well just go ahead and give her the title. You might as well just go ahead and beat Toni Storm and give her all the belts. And for the record, that's exactly what's going to happen. That is exactly what's going to happen. She's going to beat Mercedes. Mercedes is going to beat Toni Storm. And Mercedes is going to win all the belts. They called her Mercedes Hogan. Well, might as well go all the way with it. You might as well go all the way with it. This match is being done too soon. I remember in my prediction that I deleted, by the way. I apologize for that. But in my prediction show, I said, yes, eventually you have to do Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné. But wait until Mercedes loses the belts first, then have her go after Toni Storm. In the meantime, you could have done Jamie Hayter and Toni Storm. They already have a feud. Keep the belt on Toni for a little bit longer, and then do Mercedes down the line. And then you could have Mercedes beat Toni then, and then done something with that. Here, because Mercedes has so much momentum, they booked themselves in a corner to where you almost have to give Mercedes the belt now. Because that's the story. The story here is that she's unbeaten, and she's basically won every single title. She's done everything that she is supposed to do except win the big one. So you might as well complete the sweep, give her a clean sweep, and win everything. And I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to give Mercedes the women's title. I thought it was a mistake, honestly. I would not have had Mercedes Moné beat Jamie Hayter. And I love Mercedes. If anything else, where does this leave the women's division? What are the other women going to do? You have basically cut them off from competing against the TBS champion, because the TBS champion will be fighting for the women's world title. I don't agree with that whatsoever. I just don't. And this is going to be a very unpopular opinion. It's going to be a very unpopular opinion, and I'm sorry that this is going to piss some of you off, but this is how I feel. I thought it was a mistake to have Hangman Page win the main event. I feel like it should have been Will Ospreay. Because I think by having Hangman Page win this match, you've pretty much guaranteed that Jon Moxley is not losing that belt. If Will Ospreay would have won, there you go. There's your new champ. All in. And rightfully so, he should be. Will Ospreay is their top guy. He is the unofficial top guy. Might as well give him the belt. He's the most over wrestler. He's the best wrestler. He's the best performer you have. He should be the world champion. Bar none. They're giving it to Hangman Page. And I feel like this entire story was made to put someone over, was made to make a new champion. Hangman Page should have won the belt last year. Hangman should have been the one to dethrone Bryan Danielson. After that big feud ender, the unsanctioned steel cage match with him and Swerve, where he broke the chair over Swerve's head, I would have imagined that would have been the time to put the belt on Hangman. Now, you want him to end the Death Riders. Not Will Ospreay, who would have been a great person to do it. Not Darby Allin, but Hangman Page? Nah, man. Nah. Again, the match was excellent. I loved it. I loved the main event. And yeah, I'm not upset that Hangman is a Owen Hart Cup winner. I just feel where they are with the Death Riders and what they're trying to do, the right choice was Will Ospreay. So if we're not going to have Will Ospreay win the Owen Hart Cup, then it's clear to me that Hangman Page most likely will not beat Jon Moxley. Because why would you do that? Why would you do this Death Rider storyline, have it go almost a year, just to make it a vehicle for Hangman Page to get the belt back? What? I thought we were creating new stars here. The right choices are either Will Ospreay or Darby Allin. So my gut's been off. Honestly, I don't even know anymore. Because I said to myself, yeah, we're going to get Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm, Mercedes Moné, Athena. I was excited about Athena being moved up from Ring of Honor to fight Mercedes at All In. That would have been amazing. We're going to get Hangman, Swerve versus the Young Bucks. We're going to get Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley. Bro, I was getting excited. Okada versus Omega. I was legit excited for All In. And now I'm not. I'm just not. I'm just kind of like, do I even want to watch All In? Because that doesn't, the way the card is set up, that doesn't sound exciting to me. I don't care about Mox versus Hangman again. I just don't. They've already had their feud. It's over. It was awesome. One of the most violent matches they've ever done. I remember their match they had, Revolution. Revolution 2023. But I don't want to see it again. I have no interest in seeing Mercedes beat Toni Storm. I don't. Sorry. I have no interest in seeing Toni Storm beat Mercedes. So you have Mercedes come in. She has a long undefeated streak. And instead of using that to put over Athena or someone else, maybe you want to use it to put over Chris Statlander or hell, Willow Nightingale, who I think probably should be the one to end it. If not Athena. Or put over somebody. You want to give it to Toni Storm? Or not even end it at All In. You want Mercedes to win all the gold. See, this just makes me think that AEW is not for me anymore. I'm just being honest with you. I turn on Dynamite and people say I don't watch. I watch every week. I've been watching every week. I turn on Dynamite and I watch these shows. Every once in a while I'll check out like highlights of Collision. And I feel nothing. I feel nothing. I'm not connected. I don't care about the stories. I don't care about the directions. I don't care about anybody else except for a handful. The Harley Camerons, the Will Ospreays, the Hangman Pages, the Kenny Omegas, the Swerves, the Ricochets, the Adam Coles whenever I see them. Of course, the Mercedes Moné's, the Athenas. Only a handful of wrestlers that I care about. But most of the time when I'm watching it, it feels like nothing. I do not give a fuck. And for the first time in a long time, I was actually getting myself hyped for All In. I was downright excited for what the card could have been. I fantasy booked the card in my head. And I said, man, that is going to be an awesome show. So good that I actually might want to go. And now that we're mere, not even 2 months, a month? Like a month and some change. 6 weeks, right? 6 weeks away from All In. And I'm seeing what the card is going to look like. I'm not excited. Like, in my head, Hangman Page, Jon Moxley, that's not a main event. That's not a match that I would have main event All In. I'm sorry, it's just not. Mercedes Moné versus Toni Storm. Again, blockbuster match, but right now, with them both being the top champs, that's just a big mistake, because now what are the women going to do? So that's going to be the only women's match that matters if they have more than one, but that's going to be the only women's match on the card. What, are they going to have Athena defend the Ring of Honor Championship against somebody? That would be stupid. But that's not even a match I want to see. The only match that comes to mind that gets me excited is Kenny Omega versus Okada. And if they do that match, it better main event the show. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck if the world title is being defended. If we're doing Kenny Omega versus Okada, that needs to main event. Because nothing's gonna top that match. Besides Kenny Omega and Okada, what else are they gonna do? I don't know what else they can do. I'm sitting here genuinely thinking about what the rest of the card's looking like. Adam Cole versus Ricochet, I guess. And I just pulled that one out of the dark recesses of my anatomy. FTR versus the Hurt Syndicate? That doesn't make any sense because they're both heels. Is the Hurt Syndicate heels? I don't know. Adam Copeland should be on the card, right? So maybe Adam Copeland and somebody versus the FTR? I don't know. I'm not excited. I was more excited going into Double or Nothing. Coming out of it, I'm just like, the show's not for me, y'all. It's not for me. It's just not for me. And the more time goes on, the more I have to ask the question. Who is Tony Khan booking this show for? Himself. That's not a trick question. But like, is he really booking this for the sickos? Because the decisions that were made tonight, they don't feel like long-term stories. Like the way the Death Rider story has been going. It doesn't feel like, with the way they're booking Hangman Page to go up against Jon Moxley, that there was a long-term plan. It just kind of feels haphazard. You get me? I don't know. It's late. It's past midnight. We got some super chats. We'll play them. Honestly, guys, let's just get through the card. Again, it was a great show in terms of in-ring action. The wrestlers brought it, but it was way too fucking long. 4.5 hours. Why? Felt like 5.5. But 4.5 hours. Didn't need to be that long. And then we got some dumb dick decisions. So Mercedes Moné's fighting Toni Storm will most likely be Toni Storm because it makes no sense for Toni Storm to end her streak. Hangman Page will most likely lose to Jon Moxley because why would you have the Death Rider storyline go this long only for Jon Moxley to drop the belt to Hangman Page? Why does that make any sense? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Will Ospreay would have made a lot more sense. Darby Allin would have made a lot more sense, which is why I think Jon Moxley will beat Hangman Page and then we'll have Darby beat Jon Moxley at a later pay-per-view. But then everything else I don't really care about. I don't. The only match currently that I'm excited about when it comes to All In is Kenny Omega versus Okada. That's it. That's all we got. That's all we got. And I'm sorry, I don't know if I want to spend the $50 on that. Whatever. Y'all ready to hear me talk about Double or Nothing so y'all can go to bed? We still got Monday Night Raw to get to later on today. It is the day of Monday Night Raw, by the way. It's Monday. It's midnight. Let's get to the shout-outs. Let's get to the preliminary stuff. Play the super chats. Say hello to the people. And then I'll give you a review. If this is the first time you're watching me, do me a solid favor. Like the video, subscribe, and click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Wow, your edit. Help expand the brand by doing the following things. Join the membership, click that join button, and get the opportunity to request a video of your choosing. Whether it's a live reaction, hot topic, or a review, past, present, or future. Also, don't forget to give thanks. Hit that super thanks. If you would like to donate after the fact, you can. Also, like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, just Alyx Central. Give me a follow on Instagram, give me a follow on Spotify, give me a follow on Cameo, give me a follow on Threads, follow us on Discord, and give me a follow on TikTok. For I am the tickest of the talkest. Donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, Venmo. And yes, Super Chats are officially on. You can donate at any point in time during the broadcast. To get your thoughts played live on the air, email me at justalyxsworld@gmail.com for business inquiries, just to say hi. And please get yourself a t-shirt today, Pro Wrestling Tees and Teespring. Are you a Just Alex guy? Then join the club. Get you an I'm a Just Alex guy t-shirt. Hot off the press! Also, get you an old school Deluxe Man t-shirt. Get you a new school Alex's World t-shirt. And many, many more t-shirt designs coming your way. So stay tuned, join the cause, expand the brand today right here in Alyx's world. Thank you to the lovely people who are joining me currently live on YouTube and also on the TikTok. So please be sure you show the love. Show your love to the Mod Squad, Ultra, Shine 97 Fire Star Heart, Elias, Ademi, New Japan Pro Wrestling Girl, Khalil does everything. We did land a danger. Teflon Don, the Mod Father, Zeno, Enigma, and Big MGM, because they help keep this a safe space for wrestling fans like you and like us. Please be sure y'all like the video. The more you like the video, the more opportunities I will be given to be recommended here on YouTube. So help boost the algorithm by hitting that like button. Quick shout out to JB Snackin'. Actually, JB Snackin' is no longer your international super chat champ. He was dethroned by the new super chat international champ, who is here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, show your love to the savior, Drew Usher. That's right, Drew Usher is the new international super chat champion. He won it last night. He will be defending it alongside 3 Diglets at Money in the Bank. That's right, both championships will be on the line. First place will win the World Super Chat Champ. Second place will win the International Super Chat Championship. We're going to find out who the new champs will be when we get to that date. But congratulations, Drew Usher, the savior. But his championship is not on the line tonight. He gets to relax. But super chats are definitely still on. And so let's get to them really quickly.
Too long. Trios match should not have been on the card. Tony needs to understand not every match needs to be 20 plus minutes, especially on a 8-match card.
9-match card, but you're absolutely right. That killed me, bro. 4.5 hours. Why? Just get out and get in. Get in, get out. Whatever. Do one of those.
The women and RKO Jr. were best part of BG.
The women, what? The women and RKO Jr. were best part of... Oh, Battleground. Miles Bourne is RKO Jr., right? Well, I'm hearing Battleground was a great show.
I still think the plan is for Darby to win. Unfortunately, we have to wait till he gets back. No reason to have Will beat Mox if Darby is the plan.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that too, where maybe the ultimate goal is to give the Darby out. That makes the most sense. Because why would they give it to Hangman of all places? I don't get that. I just don't. Seriously.
Hit that thumbs up button. Let's go.
And of course, I gotta give a shout out to my buddies across the aisle. A&B Combos Wrestling Edition, who is doing a live, if I'm not mistaken, for NXT Battleground. They were not live for AEW Double or Nothing. So they got to actually go to bed early. But instead, they chose to stay up for me, and I appreciate that. I won't keep you up here too long. I'm going to get in and get out with this review. But thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for your donations. Let me start out from the first person I saw here in the live chat. I see Game Shock. I see Maddo. I see JJ. Who let the dogs out? Who? I see Extreme Sonic, the King. I see Maddo. I see Marvin. Is it 209? Marvin 209. Okay, let me I apologize. Let me refresh this Microsoft Edge is tripping. This is why I should just be looking on my phone, but I'm too lazy. Hold up. Let me do this on my phone. Cuz Microsoft Edge is horrible. All right, so looking at my live stream here. Okay. So backing it up on my phone, Matto, Trey Lucado, Omar Feliciano, former Super Chat champ, by the way. Omar Feliciano. The champ is here. Former champ. The real champ is actually here. Your savior, Drew Usher. Let me see. JMTSDN. He says AEW wins again. The Ultimate Strawberry Smoothie says, if there's any place I want to be this early in the morning, it's just Alex's world. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. George Lewis, good to have you here, sir. Speaking of Super Chat champs, Ronwell Nogales, also in the building. Robert Brown, Andre Lavandera, I can't even roll my R's. Andre, what's up, man? A Shadow Star. I also see here, let's put it out a little bit more. Adam Ritter. We got a big audience. I'm actually very shocked to see this audience this late, because it's past midnight. And you know what? I'm going to stop right there. Again, I don't want to keep you guys here too long. A&B Convo says, we did our live watch along for Battleground. It was a great show with a shocking ending. Yeah. The ending was Trick Williams being the guy to dethrone Joe Hendry. Trick Williams is now the TNA World Champ. Wow. Jesus Christ. Drew Usher says, my goal is to buy a Just Alyx t-shirt and wear it front row of a show and get it on hard cam. My man, Drew Usher, if you do that, I will be in your debt forever. Do that. Do it. Big advertisement. Just Alyx in the front row of a WWE show. All right, we're going to go ahead and move things along, y'all. Again, it's late, so I don't want to keep y'all here too long. Y'all can keep donating. I won't turn off Super Chats. It's past midnight. I just want to get this in and get out. So thank you all so much for being here. You could be anywhere here on YouTube. You chose me, and I'm grateful. AEW Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing was live in Glendale, Arizona. Again, the first time it's been outside of Las Vegas. They had a pretty solid crowd. So, WrestleTix has them at 9,000. Yeah, that feels about right. 9 to 10,000. Wouldn't be surprised if it was 10,000. Probably had a little extra push there at the end to get a few more fans in there. So, probably around 9 to 10,000 people. Looked filled. The Raptors weren't covered. So, yeah, probably around 9,000-ish. That feels about right. 9,000. Good crowd until we got closer to the end. They were pretty strong throughout the night until we got to the last few matches. And then they were just fighting sleep like I was. Because these shows are too fucking long, Tony. Regardless, it was good to have them there. Let's get to it. The first match was the Women's Owen Hart Foundation Tournament Final. Mercedes Moné, your TBS champ, taking on Jamie Hayter. I thought this match was awesome, as I knew it would be. I thought the hype for it has been very simple but effective. Although I should have suspected that Jamie Hayter was getting way too much over Mercedes. They made us think that Mercedes was going to lose, which is a good indication that when they do that, it means she's going to win every single time. So Jamie basically embarrassed Mercedes. And then we got to the match, and it was a good back and forth. And I actually was convinced that Jamie was going to beat her until Mercedes hit that. I don't even know what it was, but I know it was a DDT schoolboy, a schoolboy DDT. It was the, see, I gotta be careful. Because it wasn't Seth Rollins's or Tyler Black's finisher. What was that called in Ring of Honor, where he did a DDT and then rolled it up into a schoolboy? What was that called? That was essentially what Mercedes Moné did to Jamie Hayter. It looked more devastating, though. It looked like Jamie Hayter almost broke her neck. But, yeah, she beat her. Mercedes Moné beat Jamie Hayter. She is now the 2025 Women's Owen Hart Cup winner. And she is now going to All In to fight Toni Storm. So the top champs are competing against each other, with one title being on the line. I don't like that. I don't like that, quite frankly. I'm taking this off, y'all. It's hot. It's hot. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like when both champs are competing on the show. And I'm being real with you. If WWE was to have done this, I would have hated it too. Like Lyra Valkyria, if she was to compete for the women's title, I'd be like, why? And by the way, it was called God's Last Gift. Thank you. God's Last Gift. I appreciate that. I forgot the name of it. Apparently, they're having 2 women's matches. The other is a casino battle royale, and I'm sure there will be a ton of surprises. Okay, so they're going to have a women's casino battle royale match. I guess that'll make up for it, but again, like I said at the beginning, this should have been a Jamie Hayter win. Because you could have set up Jamie Hayter as a legit challenger for Toni Storm. They have a history. Remember back in 2023, when Toni was a part of the Outcasts, that was Saraya and, of course, Ruby Soho. And they took the belt off of Jamie Hayter because she was injured. I would have thought that would have been a great way to get back to that feud and wrap that up. No, Jamie Hayter wouldn't have beaten Toni Storm, but it would have been a great match to see. You know they would have tore the house down. And then we would have done Mercedes and Athena again. And then you could have had Athena beat Mercedes. And then established her. And then you could have gone and done Toni Storm and Mercedes later on, like around Full Gear or something. And then that would have been a big time match to see. But they didn't do that. They gave it to Mercedes. And with the way things are looking, don't be surprised if Mercedes ends Toni Storm's reign. Matter of fact, I'm predicting that right now. With the way things are looking, I think Mercedes Moné ends Toni Storm's Women's Championship reign. You don't gotta like it. Doesn't matter what you like. That's what they're doing. Again, who's asking for that? I love Mercedes, but no one is asking for her to end Toni Storm's reign. Are you? Because I'm not. So there's that. Then you got... I don't want to say anything bad about these guys because I love all 4. But FTR versus Nigel McGuinness and Daniel Garcia. This match shouldn't have even been... Why was this match on the card? You could have done this match on Dynamite. And or Collision. Gotten across the same message. This did not need to be on the card. It didn't. Felt out of place. And it was way too long. FTR basically squashed these 2 guys. It was an elongated squash match. Which is fine. Just not pay-per-view worthy. But FTR won that. Then we did a stretcher match between Mark Briscoe and Ricochet. So here's the thing about this match. The build-up was stupid. Mark Briscoe beats Ricochet in a match on Dynamite, and that was the premise of the feud. And so I don't know how we went from that to a stretcher match. But if you can ignore that and just see the match as it is in a vacuum, it was a great match. Very violent. Very violent. Mark Briscoe was bleeding like a stuffed pig. And Ricochet looked like an absolute beast. A sawn off, vicious son of a bitch. He had them scissors. I think he had 2 pairs of scissors that he brought out. And I forgot how he busted open Mark Briscoe. But however way he did it, I remember when Briscoe first got busted open, and then Ricochet was slamming his head on the stretcher, and you can see blood splattered where Briscoe was slamming his head, and it literally looked like a crime scene, like he was being killed. It was like a murder I was watching. It was devastating. And I got a little worried for Mark Briscoe during the match. I'm like, he's losing a lot of blood. But the right guy won. Ricochet does end up throwing Mark Briscoe in the ambulance because it's a stretcher match. And then he stands tall. My next question is he going after a championship? Because Ricochet needs to win a title this year. Ricochet's too hot. He's on fire. He's one of the best things going for Dynamite for AEW, period. So I'm assuming the plan is to have him fight Adam Cole, baby, at All In, right? Which would be another reason to watch All In. But I'm not getting my hopes up because I don't think that's what they're going to do. But yes, that's what we did. Another match that probably should have been on a Dynamite or a Collision, and somehow got added to this card. AEW World Title match, the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin taking on Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes, the Sons of Texas. Again, why are they a tag team? I still don't know why they're a tag team. Because they're from Texas. And? Is that all we got? They've done a poor job of explaining why these guys are a tag team. Well, they're the tag team champs. That doesn't answer anything. The whole story of the match was that MJF was trying to help, and then he almost screwed over the Hurt Syndicate, and they made it seem like MJF and the Hurt Syndicate were having issues and it wasn't going to work out. And they create this idea that MJF was about to cost Bobby and Shelton. But then it was all a ruse. Bobby turned around, spears Dustin through the barricade, and then Sammy ate the pin from a spear from Bobby. So the Hurt Syndicate beats the Sons of Texas. And I'm just like, the Sons of Texas, excuse me. There you go. Don't know what that does for the Ring of Honor Tag Champs if they can't beat the real champs. But okay. Match could have been on Dynamite or Collision. Didn't need to be on pay-per-view. Now, a match that I wasn't excited for, I'm happy still happened. Because it was one of the best matches all night. Kazuchika Okada versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Now, Mike Bailey is somebody I've heard through word of mouth. I've known people's opinion on him for a while now. And I think seeing him wrestle these past few months, I'm starting to get the hype. This guy is legit. He's a really, really good wrestler. The fact that him and Okada had an excellent, and I mean an excellent sleeper hit of a match, that just goes to show you how good this guy is. Now, he was working with Okada, but the thing is, Okada, he has 2 gears. You can tell when Okada is just going through the motion. He's just cruising. He's basically in first gear, doesn't really get out of it. You know? But when he kicks it into that second gear and starts taking you seriously, he becomes the best wrestler in the world. It's almost Randy Orton-like. When Randy Orton would just kind of go in there and just go through the motion and not really try. But then you get someone that he cares about, he pulls out his best in-ring performances. That's kind of where we are with Okada. Where he's just kind of lazily going through the motion. And then you get him an opponent like a Speedball Mike Bailey. And then he pulls out this second gear, and then you see why he gets the most money in the world. He's the highest paid wrestler, male wrestler, in AEW right now. Second to him is Swerve Strickland. And then third is MJF. Okada is the highest paid male wrestler on the roster. $13.5 million in 5 years. And you saw that come out in this match. You're like, oh shit, that's why he gets the 13.5. That when Mike Bailey was going for that shooting star double knee buster, whatever the fuck you call it, the shooting star Meteora, and then Okada hit him with that drop kick in midair. That shit was sweet. That was great. So, awesome match. Okada's going to go on to fight Kenny Omega at All In. Toni Storm. Timeless Toni Storm. Defending her belt against Mina Shirakawa. The match was good. I'm not going to take anything away. But did anyone actually think Toni Storm was losing this match? Okay, good. The best part was them making out after the match. Honestly. The match was good. I didn't hate Toni fighting Mina, but there was nothing about this match that sold me about Mina beating Toni. So when it was over with, I was like, cool. Now, Mercedes versus Toni Storm. I'm just letting you know right now. Toni Storm might retain. Don't be upset if she doesn't. I wanted Jamie Hayter to win, because that would have guaranteed Toni Storm was going to retain at All In. But now that it's Mercedes, I have a feeling that they're about to give her all the belts. And don't be upset if they do that either. One of the matches I was looking forward to all night. Anarchy in the arena. Swerve, Kenny Omega, Willow Nightingale, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, Katsuyori Shibata versus Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Marina Shafir, the Death Riders, and the Young Bucks. So, they started off with this weird music because the Young Bucks were coming out as the founding fathers of AEW, and so they were wearing like presidential 1600s independence, Declaration of Independence, George Washington, American colonialism type of shit. It was corny as fuck on purpose. And so they were playing that music, and then Kenny Omega said, hey, bro, cut that shit off. Play some other music. Next one. And then they played, I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. And I'm just like, oh, this is the kind of Anarchy in the arena match we're having. Okay? And then Kenny Omega said, cut that shit off. We're going to get this right. Take us back to the year 2000. 1990s, really. But take us back to when real music was a thing. Spin that shit. And then we got, let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the... That was hot. And then they rolled that in rotation for a couple of times. That was great. I love that. Great sound choice. And the match was all kinds of chaos. There was a spot where Willow got hooked to the turnbuckle through her ear, Jeff Hardy style. Remember how Randy Orton was messing with Jeff Hardy's earlobe and he would like pull like a screwdriver in? Yeah, that shit. Well, Marina Shafir locked Willow on the turnbuckle with a chain lock through her ear, the hole in her ear. Yeah, that happened. That was crazy. Not the craziest part of the match though, but crazy. And oh my goodness, you had it all here, bro. You had forks, you had swan tombs through tables, dives off the stage. There was a sequence in the middle of the match where you see Swerve get a stapler. Oh, goodness gracious. Let me back this up. So a staple gun. The craziest part of this entire match was a staple gun. So, and it was multiple staple guns. You have Nicholas Jackson, get a staple gun. Go up to Powerhouse Hobbs. Staple his back. Powerhouse Hobbs laughs. Bitch, what the fuck was that? gets up to Nicholas, says, do it right here in his forehead, staples his forehead. He no-sells that shit. And you can see the staple right there. It was crazy. Love seeing it. Anyway, Swerve gets the gun now. And you see Swerve Strickland start stapling everybody. Staple gun to Wheeler Yuta, gets Jon Moxley in the neck. Claudio throws him up for the uppercut. Swerve comes down, boom. Staple him in the face. And then Matthew Jackson, comes in with his own staple gun, knocks down Swerve, goes to use his staple gun on Swerve. Swerve sits up, bow, right in the nuts. Staples his nuts. You're like, oh, that sucks. That wasn't even the worst one. Marina Shafir comes in, gets the gun, pulls out Swerve's tongue. Yes, pulls out his tongue and staples his tongue. Ah! Sorry, earbud users, but he stapled his tongue. That was crazy. That was nuts. And the staple was actually in his tongue. Anyway, so they keep brawling all over the arena. And then the Death Riders get help from, what's his name? Gabe Kidd. Gabe Kidd comes out to help the Death Riders, right? And then the Ops and Willow start beating them up and then chase them up the ramp. And then they lock him in the same ambulance that Mark Briscoe got locked in. By the way, Mark Briscoe comes back out to help Team Swerve and Team Omega. So they lock in the Death Riders and the ambulance, leaving the Young Bucks to deal with Omega and Swerve. And the Young Bucks are like, well, fuck. And then Swerve hits the house call. Kenny Omega hits the V-trigger. Kenny Omega then takes Nicholas up the stage, right? And then Swerve gets out his own thumbtack shoes. He has thumbtack shoes with thumbtacks at the bottom, right? And by the way, Hook does show up. Hook shows up in the middle of the match to help Samoa Joe. And then he gets revenge on Wheeler Yuta and then leaves. So don't know where that one's going up. That was odd. So I guess there's issues there. Okay. Anyways, so Kenny's on the stage, upper stage, and he jumps off the ramp through a table with the one-winged angel. He hits the table and the table explodes. Fireworks, just explodes. Crazy. Swerve is inside the ring. He has his two shoes on with thumbs at the bottom. And I don't think he's going for a house call, which would have been fucking crazy. But instead, he climbs the ropes and does a double stomp. A double stomp with thumbtack shoes on Matt Jackson. Practically kills him and pins a 1-2-3. Yeah, that match was insane. It was more insane than last year's. All those last year's was insane too. This was definitely one of their better ones. This was incredible. This was absolute batshit crazy. Even the women got it. I love that Willow took a cutter from Jon Moxley, and then Maria Shafir took a Snapdragon suplex, which was crazy. All of that was crazy. But yeah, explosive tables, freaking thumbtack shoes. The match went a good 35 minutes. It didn't feel like it. Felt like a 15-minute match. It went a while, but it felt like a 15-minute match. So I think by default probably was match of the night. But I loved it. And then you had just a random ass 6-man tag. Paragon, that's the Undisputed Era. They can't call themselves the Undisputed Era. They call themselves Paragon. Adam Cole, baby, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong take on the Don Callis family, Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita, and Josh Alexander. There you go. The match was a match. Don Callis family wins. Hiroshi Tanahashi comes out. No one gives a fuck. Anyways, that really should have been on Collision. Main event time. Hangman Adam Page versus Willard Will Ospreay. The winner goes on to main event AEW All In for the world title. The crowd was halfway falling asleep by the time we got to this match. You can feel it in the air. They were halfway there. And this match started off slow, which was a mistake, but started off slow, and you could tell the crowd was having a hard time getting into it. But then they started to pick up. And rightfully so, as they picked up, the crowd got more and more into it. Then you got, this is awesome, fight forever, both these guys, all that stuff, right? And so they're killing it now. They're picking up speed, and the counters are awesome. Lots of crazy moments. They started using other people's moves. I think Hangman Page used Swerve's Big Pressure. Omega used Kenny Omega's V-Trigger. And so they're getting desperate. Will Ospreay starts getting more vicious, and you could tell that he was trying to be the heel of the match. He wanted to get that heat and getting the crowd to boo him, and it was so natural how he made that happen too. And you got sympathy on Hangman Page, and they did the Bryan Danielson Will Ospreay spot where Hangman's going for the buckshot lariat and Willard's going for the hidden blade. And when they did this with Bryan Danielson, Will won that exchange, and he beat Bryan Danielson. And you're thinking, okay, well, Will's gonna go after Hangman, and you know he's gonna connect with Hangman's buckshot lariat because Hangman needs time to get that in. No, actually, Hangman hits the buckshot lariat, and Will Ospreay gets a kick out on that 2.5 pin. That was crazy. But what really shocked me was that not even a few minutes after that, Hangman Page ends up hitting another buckshot lariat, and then he pins Will Ospreay. What? Hangman Page beat Will Ospreay? He won the Owen Hart Cup, and he's going to go on to main event All In? Not Will Ospreay. The most over wrestler you have. Your primary, your ace, is not main eventing the show. What? Again, love Hangman Page. Love the story he's telling. And I'm not saying that it doesn't make any sense for him to fight Jon Moxley for that title. He's not going to beat Jon Moxley for this belt. They didn't create the Death Rider storyline to have someone that was already a champion get the belt back. That makes no sense. He's not ending the Death Rider storyline. That's going to a younger talent that hasn't been world champ before. Darby Allin. Or Will Ospreay. So we already know Hangman's not going to win that belt. He might actually. Listen, I had Will Ospreay and Jamie Hayter winning. I was completely wrong. So I don't know what the fuck Tony Khan's doing anymore. I don't think he knows what he's doing. But it makes no sense for them to give Hangman Page the belt right now. And so when he won, I was like, well, shit, this is going to continue until Darby Allin comes back. Or maybe they do have him win. So you do all that just to give the belt to Hangman Page again? Yo, I'm tired. Again, like, the wrestling on this show was great. But I'm sorry, I don't have any interest. And I mean this, any interest whatsoever in what they're doing with All In. Not trying to be an asshole, I'm just being honest. I'm not interested. You might be, and if you are, you know what I mean? Like, good for y'all. Good for you. Congratulations. It's not for me. It's not for me. I don't want to be that asshole, but it's not for me. But we'll see, man. We got 6 weeks to build to All In. I'm here saying that I'm not interested. By the time we get to All In, I'm like, oh my God, this card is fire! But right now, I'm not interested. I'm not. Fire, yeah! I can't do it. I'm tired, y'all. It's too late. I don't have the energy for this shit. But yeah, the show was too fucking long. Great wrestling, questionable decisions. Let's see what happens. What grade would you give the show? How y'all feel about the matches? What was your match tonight? Talk to my baby. Also, how y'all feel about the length of the show? Joseph Winter says, Darby got to come back soon. Yeah, please, Darby, come back and win this title, please. Game Shock said, this was, if I'm being honest, felt like a glorified AEW TV special from 2020 to 2022. Oh, 6.5 out of 10. Yikes. Joseph Winters gives it a B-. Trey Lucado gives it an 8.25 out of 10, which is a B-. Well, it was more like a B. It feels like a B to me. JJ Bulldog, I'm trying to process this whole Moxie versus Hangman Adam Page just so Darby can come in. I wish Tony would just get it over with. Like, honestly, I really just wish Darby would just come and take the belt off of him. Anarchy in the arena and the main event saved this from being a 5 out of 10. Fair enough. Extreme Sonic the King says, B+, too long. Hopefully Hangman wins at All In. We'll see. JJ Bulldog, Alyx, maybe they might run it back in 2022 and 2023 between Ospreay and Mox during their New Japan Pro Wrestling days and chasing after for the IWGP title. All In, I'm sick of the Death Riders. Everybody's sick of the Death Riders. Everybody. Toni versus Mina. The match was interesting, but the main event was wow. The ending was wow. Yeah, the way it ended was. Trey Lucado. Now here's my question: who takes the tie off of Mercedes? If Mercedes beats Toni Storm at All In, I have no idea. At that point, that is a good ass fucking question. If they have Mercedes beat Toni Storm at All In, I'm like, I don't know who beats her. Athena would be the right call, but who knows? Ralph, Mount Everest takes 2 months to climb up and down, so Darby might not be back to a week or 2 after All In. Fuck. Shadowstar, do you think they should redesign the World Championship? No, I like the AEW World title design. Please don't resign it. Please don't redesign it. Leave it alone. JJ Bulldog, Megan Bourne. See, if they had just taken their time with Megan Bourne, yes. I would have loved for Megan Bourne to be the one to beat Mercedes. Mike Pringle, I'm sorry, Hayter should have won. It should be Athena versus Monet and Storm versus Hayter. I know. That's what it should be. But Tony Khan is an idiot. Who the fuck wants to see Mercedes and Tony and Hangman and Moxley? The fuck is that shit? I know, right? Let me see. What else I was saying? Jogging pole was great. Yeah. Let the bodies hit the floor. I heard NXT Battleground was amazing. Haven't been watching AEW Double or Nothing with my friend at my place. He paid for it. I paid for the TNA Under Siege show from May 23rd, 2025. How was that? How was the Under Siege show? Was it good? Why would they give Trick Williams the TNA title? Because fuck TNA. Who cares about TNA? Mount Everest takes 2 months. I already read that. Okay. Oh, I'm tired. Let me go ahead and get out of here. It's about to be. It's 1 a.m. Damn it. It's 1 a.m. Thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I'll be back up here later tonight for Raw. So don't miss that. In the meantime, thank y'all so much for watching. Do all the YouTube things. Like the video, subscribe, and click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and Venmo. I'm going to go to sleep. The show is way too goddamn long. And I don't know if I can keep doing this. These shows going 4.5 fucking hours. And then me doing a review for an hour and a half. Well, let's go ahead and get out of here, y'all. Thank y'all so much. And I guess I'll catch you in my next stream, which is literally in 24 hours or less. Love you all. See you guys next time right here in Alyx's World. The place that is, was, and forever will be a safe space for wrestling fans like you. Check out A&B Combos' stream before you come to my review. Show support to them because they are family. All right, guys, I'm out. Peace.
When you're